I'm going to start by asking you a question. How many of you here have heard about the power of dreaming? How it can help us with achieving our goals in life? I'm quite confident that most of you have heard about it at least once or twice before. You know, all those books that talk about how great it is to dream, etc. But now let's take a moment. Think to yourself, have you ever achieved something really big because you dreamed? Can I see some hands, please, if it's a yes? Thank you. Now, I'm here today, as you gathered, not to talk about the importance of dreaming, because I'm sure you all know about it already, but rather I want to tell you, I want to inspire you to think about purposeful dreaming. Dreaming with an intent, meaning that after this speech, I hope that all of you will at least have the confidence to try out dreaming if you haven't done so before. So why is dreaming so important to me? Well, dreaming is something that really, it keeps me going. It helps me get through the difficult parts in life. I need dreaming as much as I need eating, as much as I need drinking, as much as I need a good curry dish every now and then. So I can confidently say that if it wasn't for me taking the time to dream every day for at least 5 minutes, I wouldn't be able to say that I managed to beat 3 years of coursework, all those nasty exams, and develop an amazing portfolio of experiences, all with a smile like this. So I hope that I will take you on a journey that will make you realize the importance of dreaming. Now, it was some time ago when I was having one of those deep conversations with my mother. Wonderful woman sat in the audience here today. And we were sat in our kitchen, you know, one of those talks where you sat in your cozy kitchen, you're having a cup of tea, and if you had a cat, that cat would be in your lap at that moment. One of those speeches. And then I was shocked to hear my mom say, I don't really know how to dream. And I thought, how is that possible? Because I dream all the time. It's the fuel that keeps me going. I mean, it's what makes me see major obstacles as minor setbacks on the wonderful journey of life. And it kept bothering me. And I thought, how am I going to teach my mom to dream? And it wasn't until quite recently when I was sitting down with 2 of my closest friends. And I was telling them about my problem. And they helped me realize that my mom does actually know how to dream. She's simply doing it differently than I am, and in a different way than I am. So how does my mom dream, you ask? Well, she likes to paint, and she does it as a hobby. And even more so, she's not greedy to leave her paintings hanging around in our household. Oh, no. I mean, she gives them out to her friends, and meaning she shares her dream with her loved ones. Now, even though some of you might have never held a paintbrush in their hand ever, I want you to think for a moment what it is that you require to create a painting. Think about it for a second. There is the brush, of course. Then there's the canvas. Then there's paint. In my case, I've got some black paint in here. You've got different colors of paint, your primary ones, your secondary ones, the tangibles. And then you've got the intangibles, meaning your imagination and the imagination of your friends who look at your painting. So how does my mom paint? Well, she doesn't quite know what it is that she's painting when she starts. And that's okay, because she knows that ultimately she's going to create a beautiful painting. You see, what matters here is that she is not afraid Sorry, the D didn't fit in. She's not afraid to start. And that's important. You see, when I'm thinking of myself, I want to be a successful person in the future. I don't envision myself in one specific role, in one specific time, at one specific place. No, because dreams are dynamic, they change. But I always see myself being successful. So what I'm trying to say is, both my mother and I, we have a vague idea when we start that changes as we go along. We start by visualizing, by creating a concept. And even though we don't have clear vision, once we have an abstract idea, we start looking for particularities. And we do so by sketching. Because what does sketching do? Sketching allows us, and it allows people around us, to comprehend our dream, what it is that we're thinking about in our head. Now, even though my mom has an actual brush and I have an imaginary brush in my head, we both do the same thing. And the next step is, once we've started sketching, we might change it, because like I said, dreams are dynamic, and we might change the sketch as we go along. There's a wonderful British composer called Max Richter. And what he did was, he took Vivaldi's Four Seasons, and he decided, right, I'm going to modernize this wonderful piece, because I want more people, I want younger people to listen to this piece, and I need to modernize it. And he did the same thing. He was in the same position as my mother and I. He wasn't sure what it was that he wanted to create. So he started by just taking the song down note by note, and then he started putting it back together again, note by note. Can you imagine this? Putting a song, a wonderful masterpiece, back together note by note, and then modifying it according to his taste. And what happened was, what he created conquered iTunes classical music charts. It's a wonderful job he did. And on a side note, connected to music, I want to emphasize on a very important tool as you're dreaming. A wonderful tool that will facilitate realizing maybe ideas that you wouldn't realize if you weren't using it is music. And it's not just any music. It's the music that touches your spine cord. It's the music that enables you to feel your dream, to see it. You know what I mean? And for example, for me, it could be I go outside on a walk and I put Coldplay Paradise on, and it really helps me feel, right, I'm going to be successful no matter what it is that I'm doing. And it will also help me overcome some obstacles that I'm currently faced with, let's say nasty coursework. So music, why is it so important? Because it touches us on a level far more semantic than words. That's why I encourage all of you to develop the same ritual that I have. Take the time to every day for at least 5 minutes. Sit down, put your headphones on, or in your car, put some music on and dream. Of course, you should watch out in a car. Don't do it when you're driving. But nevertheless, develop that habit, and it will make you feel so much better, even if you're faced with the most difficult situations. Now, going back to sketching, next step, what happens? Once we've developed something that vaguely resembles something that we can start to tell what it is, we get others involved. Who do I mean by others? Let's say friends. Why do we get others involved? We get them involved to hear their ideas, to hear their criticisms. So on my journey to success, whilst I've been at university, I've developed, well, I've had a few jobs, I've done a few extracurricular activities, and every time I took a major decision, I got others, meaning my mother, for example, my family, I got them involved to tell me, is it a good idea to realize the pros and cons that were likely to result from that idea? And it is at this point when I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to differentiate between constructive criticism, as I'm sure you've all heard before, and negative criticism, the first of which allows you to see your idea, your dream in a different way, whereas the other one just shatters it and just doesn't benefit you in any way. And after you involve others, you then go back to yourself. Like I did. I went back to myself, and I had a discussion with myself, so to speak. Was it worth continuing with this idea of mine? Or, should I change it? Should I scrap it? Others, my mother brings others in. Max Richter brings others in. They allow us to do what? Set milestones. Well, almost. Set milestones. And after we've done that, we can then move along. Then what happens then? What happens then is we require a leap of faith to carry on. Because sometimes it might be a good idea to give up on our idea and do it again. Because what I'm trying to say is seeing is believing. And now I have a question to you. How many of you remember the apple Newton? Can I see a raise of hands? Okay, not too many. Well, the Apple Newton was the predecessor of the iPad in the 1990s, and it failed. But what did Steve Jobs do? 2 decades later, the man comes back with his idea and decides, right, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to slightly modify it, but I'm going to try it again. And we all know what happened from then. The rest is history, so to speak, isn't it? So a shattered dream can become another dream. And the beauty about dreaming is you can do it at any place, at any time, with anyone. And what's even cooler is you can just do it, you can just include it in your daily routine because it doesn't require anything. What I want to say before I conclude this speech is that do not forget to own your dream, to put yourself in your dream, shape it your way. You see, when my mother paints, she subconsciously paints something that matters to her. It's not just anything. It's something that matters to her. In my case, when I've taken on different job roles or different extracurricular activities, they all subconsciously, when I've made the choice, they reflect my vision to become very successful. So remember to own your dream. And finally, the most important thing is to not be afraid. Don't be afraid to take the first step, even if you don't know where exactly you're headed. Because like I said, my mom and I, we have a vague idea of what we want, but it's not that clear, and yet we take the first step and we get going. So ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to find the way you dream. Thank you.